And say I want a man that's 6 feet tall, makes a certain amount of money, blah, blah, blah. Those are considered preferences. But if I say, hey, man, I don't date black girls like that. Oh, God.
You hate black women.
How dare you?
You know what I'm saying? It's ridiculous.
My mom's black. Your mom's black.
Yeah.
My sister's black. Like, bro, we just like, no. Like most black girls are like annoying, how to put this, ratchet, and they don't know how to like be reserved. You're like the complete opposite.
You are not the stereotype.
You are not the same. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Hi everybody, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Mars and I want to thank everybody who's returned to my channel to watch another one of my videos. It means so much to me, and to everybody who's new here, I really hope I don't disappoint. But if you are new here, then you might not know, but I do my research. Anyway, I do my research, I cite my sources, but that doesn't mean that you shouldn't do your own. So please go look that shit up, come back here and comment what you think below. Now, let's get into the topic of today's video. I'm gonna jump right in. I don't play around like that. Fresh and Fit, the podcast. You know, the problematic motherfuckers who just got into a beef with Asian Doll over seemingly nothing, if we're being honest. So Asian Doll gets kicked off the podcast because she calls Fit or Fresh, I don't know their names, I really don't care to know their names. She calls the skinny one mean. And the skinny one gets mad and kicks her off the show, whether he's mean or not, which he is, and whether or not she was right, which I feel like, okay, yes, she's mean, but in that situation, he kind of was justified in what he was saying to the girl. It was the way he reacted. You know what I'm saying? It was the seriousness that he had for the situation to the point where he had to kick Asian Doll off the show for calling her mean. And I find it funny because, I mean, he was just on a podcast with Brittany Renner and she tore him to shreds and he just sat there like, I understand your perspective. But like, so you can keep your, like, you are more mature to be able to take criticism than just shutting down like a big baby and kicking people off the show because they differ in opinions or because they insult you a little bit. I'm just saying, it seems to me like he abuses his power, like he lets shit get to his head. And that's where I want to start off in this video. So they have a history of colorism, which is why when people see in this clip, they kind of took it and ran with it, no matter who's right or wrong in the situation. Sorry if there's a lot of noise in my background. So yeah, they took the situation and they ran with it because Fresh and Fit have a history of colorism. And I looked into it. I've seen it firsthand and it's appalling, I'm not gonna lie. They have whole YouTube videos called We Had to Kick Some Ratchets Off the Show. And you might wonder, what did the ratchets look like? One was a dark-skinned black woman who was the one who got kicked off the show, mind you. The other one was her friend who was a lighter skinned black woman, but everybody else on the show was white or white presenting, with the exception of one other black woman who just so happened to be well mannered and in a woman's place. Let's leave it at that. They have a history of calling black women ratchets, shaniquas, and less feminine. And I mean, from the first time I ever seen a clip of their podcast on my timeline, it was about DJ Academics. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that video, but it was supposed to be about how DJ Academics is a bitch. But the first thing I noticed was, damn, this skinny black guy, he's kind of annoying as hell. Like, what is wrong with him? And then this happens. So I guess the vibes were off. And I was able to see way before, without ever having to watch another clip, that this guy was an asshole, right? And kind of misogynistic. So with that being said, I feel like there's a correlation between the men who say that they don't date black women and being a bad person, being misogynistic, being sexist. There's a correlation there. A lot of times when it comes to men who don't date black women, their excuses are black women are less feminine, we're too aggressive, we don't know how to submit. And I'm just like, it sounds to me like your definition of submission is a woman doing whatever you tell her to do or staying in a woman's place. Just like on a Fresh and Fit podcast, when a black woman got kicked out and he called her ratchet, it was because she was speaking out of turn. It's like, you guys are debating. You're having a conversation. She doesn't have to sit there and be absolutely quiet until you call on her like she's in the 5th grade and you guys are in class. That's not how this shit works. And the fact that you wanted to work like that shows that you only have respect for other men. Because when DJ Academics was on his show and the whole situation happened that went viral, that was my introduction to the show, DJ Academics spoke out of turn. calling a woman out for having a baby out of wedlock while she was trying to leave the show. And did he get called out for it? No. You know who got called out for it? She did. That's why I'm looking at him like, what is wrong with you? Because he was literally attacking her like, didn't you say you were leaving? Didn't you say you were leaving? And I'm like, wait a second. So she gets insulted on her way out the door, and you have no smoke for DJ Academics. It's clear that he thinks a woman should stay in their place, right? And I'm speaking specifically on him because it seems like he's the ringleader, and the other guy, whether that be Fit or Fresh or whatever, the dark skinned one, he be like silent. I mean, it's like he doesn't cause most of the controversy. He's like his wingman or whatever, even though he's just as bad, he's just quiet about it. But yeah, usually colorist men associate darker skinned women with being less feminine and being less submissive, which is a trait that misogynistic, sexist men like, because they believe women should be mild-mannered, they should stay in their place. And you can see by the women they surround themselves with on the podcast that that's the kind of woman they accept. If you don't fit that box, you're getting kicked the fuck off. I'm just saying, seriously, like, most of those women, they just sit there and they're really quiet, and oh my God, if they say something racist or sexist, usually these women cheer them on or defend them, and that is the kind of woman who succeeds in a podcast like that. Now, a lot of people might think that colorism is just a preference thing and that it's really not that big of a deal, but there's a bigger picture to this. The fact that darker skin is seen as more aggressive and less intelligent, that leads to way bigger problems, and especially when the biases are inherent in the people who are in power. So in this small instance, you have a podcast where the people in power are abusing it and kicking Black women off, and women in general, but specifically Black women, for being outspoken. And that small situation is a kind of fishbowl scenario of a bigger problem that we have in America. You see less Black women getting jobs, getting opportunities that other people have taken from them, like with the Charlie D'Amelio situation, the Addison Rae situation. So it all ties into power and perspective. You have the fact that people actually make money. There's a market for degrading Black women in this way, because all of their fans in the comments, every time they have a ratchet Black woman on the show, like the woman who got kicked off the show and the ratchet Black woman one, I'm gonna keep referring to her. I think her name is, she's so bad. Let me not even pretend that I know what her name is, but she had grills in her mouth. She's dark skinned. She has a crazy accent. I'm not going to lie. Like, she did not tone down her personality not one bit on that show. She was going all out. And of course, the fans were in the comments eating her up. And it's like they give their fans a time to, you know, comment in between segments, I guess. And every time that they had a break and they would read the comments, every single comment would be about her or her friend who made a comment about liking hood guys, and everybody calling them ignorant, stupid, ratchet, you know, just insulting them. It was just too much, you know what I'm saying? And they were making money off of this. This is a market for this. And you see this in the fact that they now went viral because of it. And you know what they say, all publicity is good publicity. I can't say that word, publicity. All of it is good. The fact that I now know who they are, like, I don't know the difference between the two, Fresh, Fit, who the fuck they are, but I know their podcast. They have been an ongoing part of social media at this point, and they're going to get more fans from this regardless. They're not losing fans from this as much as people want them to, so yeah. And then you have the other side where you have the men who take up Black scents and pretend to be Black women and go viral and made so much money off of stereotyping Black women and using us as their only creative outlet. Like, I just simply do not think you're funny if the only way you can joke is by pretending to be a Black woman. And it's always the dark-skinned Black men, and then you have this one random guy, what the fuck ever his name is. I forgot his name, but you know, the one with the swoop bang. And y'all remember Lil Anthony? Oh my God. Like, these people are playing caricatures of Black women and making money off of it, but Black women cannot. If a Black woman acts like this, we get degraded. Just like on the Fresh and Fit podcast. She acts like how all of these Black men act who get all this money from it, and they pretend to act, but she's actually intelligent. Like, she was so smart. She had an amazing perspective, and she was super intelligent, and yet everything she said was taken as ignorant. And that's why, to me, it's kind of annoying that the people who could get power and money and fame from being Black women aren't black women. And another thing that comes to mind is the Rick Ross situation where he had that show and it was a competition and the black woman was there. It was a dark-skinned black woman and a light-skinned black woman. They both did a remix to Rick Ross's song, Aston Martin Music. And the black woman's song, and this might just be a taste thing, but I really don't think it is, it was amazing. Like, she sung to it, her voice was so good, the lyrics were amazing, and she did such a unique spin to the song. And Rick Ross didn't like it. He was just like, you know what, girl, I don't think this for you. But when the light-skinned girl came up, her vocals were shaky at best. The lyrics weren't far off from the original song, and it just gave lack of effort, and it, to me and to most of the world, was not touching the dark-skinned black woman's rendition of the song. And yet, the one who won the challenge was the light-skinned black woman. She was a pretty girl. She had her boobs and butt done. She looked sexy, the sex sold, and literally the fact that Rick Ross wanted to have sex with her got her into this position of power, and yet people were acting like having a preference and being colorist doesn't have any impact outside of the dating scene, outside of black women being bitter because we can't get the guy. I was looking at this article on Vox.com and they included a study in the article. I'm not going to quote directly from the study because I couldn't have access to it. It was on one of those elitist websites that save all of the best articles for people who are in school or pay for it, and I just wasn't about to do that. But it says, in a new study published in the journal Social Currents, Villanova University's Lance Hannon found that, all things being equal, interviewers deemed lighter-skinned blacks and Hispanics more intelligent than darker-skinned people who had identical educational achievement, vocabulary, scores on a political test, and a variety of other factors. And if that's not self-explanatory, I have another thing to add to it, but I didn't find it in this article. I don't know what article I found it in because for some reason all of my research deleted off of Google Docs. But I did see that there was a study, and it might have been this one, but because I don't have access to the actual study, I don't know. But I do know that there was a study done, and it showed that the interviewers, they interviewed light-skinned and dark-skinned people. And when they were asked to recall who they thought were more intelligent, they thought that the light-skinned people were more intelligent, but here's the kick. They named the dark-skinned people, but in their head, switched their complexion to be a lighter skin because they deemed them as more intelligent. So that, to me, definitively proves that people associate lighter skin with more intelligence, simply because they literally saw a dark-skinned person, said this person is intelligent, and the second that person was out of their view, they were like, yep, they were light-skinned, had to be, because they were smart. Couldn't have been a dark-skinned person. I've had personal experiences with this in my work life. When I used to intern at this company in New York, I was always a shy woman. I was always not really wanting to shake the boat. I wanted to be told what to do instead of asking or speaking up because I didn't want to make any mistakes. So the perception of me that being a shy black woman gave me was that I was lazy and that I was intimidating. And I literally had my bosses never ask me to do anything ever. Like, if they could help it, they would let me sit in the corner and do busy work all day while the white woman who would come to me and ask me for help did everything. And it was boring. It was a waste of time. And I only know this because I had to buck up the courage to ask her face to face, like, what's going on? And she told me this. And it was kind of a slap in the face to me that I was told I was intimidating and that I was lazy. And it was like, you're my boss. You shouldn't be intimidated by me. I'm literally an intern getting paid $10 a day to be here. If you need me to do something, speak up and tell me to do something. If you have an issue with me, speak up and say that. And instead, you're just gonna look at me like I'm stupid, I'm lazy, you know. And it's been done plenty of times when I worked at Bloomingdale's. You know how customers in retail are. One day I had a really bad experience with a customer, and I literally went to the back and cried. I was crying in the back, and someone seen me and told my boss that I was hiding in the back avoiding work. And I was just like, no way. No way. Because so many times I've seen my white counterparts back there on their phone doing nothing. No, what was said to them? What was said about them? Nothing. And I'm just like, wow, I work so hard just to get seen as intimidating, lazy, like I'm trying to cheat the system. And it happened at basically every job that I was at up until I got to the job I'm at now, where I felt like I would work so hard for no reason. But yeah, it's a very diverse company. They value diversity and they see the potential in everybody if you have it. And I really respect that. And that's why I've worked way harder here than I have at any other job. And those experiences gave me the perspective that I have now. And I wish I knew earlier that when they say Black women have to work 2 times as hard, 10 times as hard, they are absolutely right. Like, I thought it just meant you had to be smarter. No, you actually have to show up and be 10 times happier. You have to be 10 times more interactive, 10 times more outgoing, because if not, you're going to be seen as lazy and intimidating, and as if you have an attitude all the time. And then you have the flip side of the coin, and I feel like it's important to bring this up because it all ties in together, the double sword that men have when it comes to colorism, because for dark-skinned Black men, it doesn't work as hard against them as it does against women. So what I mean by that is men still have the power structure of the patriarchy to fall back on when colorism hits them, or you know what I'm saying? Like, they still are men at the end of the day. So the fact that they're dark-skinned and being dark-skinned is seen as more masculine in the dating world, that's what you want. Like, a lot of women are really turned on the darker the berry, you know what I'm saying? And when it comes to light-skinned men, there's a lot of jokes cracked about them. We all seen what happened to Drake when he first came out, and still now, but less because people are like, we can't touch this man. But you know what I'm saying? Like, they have this stigma of being less masculine because they're lighter skinned. And you see this now, and I watched a video by FD Signifier that was really good about this, and he broke down his thoughts on it. You guys should watch it. But the way that dark-skinned Black men are the ones who dominate the screen. You have Idris Elba, you have Denzel Washington, Samuel L. Jackson, like these A-list celebrities, these A-list stars, and you can't really say the same for their light-skinned counterparts. The ones that did make it, I had no idea were Black. Like, Vin Diesel is Black? You're not telling me Vin Diesel Black, bro. You're not telling me Vin Diesel Black. Most Black men don't only get to be dark-skinned, but have to be dark-skinned to succeed. But at least on the flip side, the lighter you are, the less likely you are to spend your whole life in jail. When it comes to being more masculine, you're seen as a threat in the eyes of the authority. You're exactly who they want to rid the streets of. So yes, darker-skinned Black men get more time in jail than their light-skinned counterparts, and obviously, women will be no exception to that. Darker-skinned Black women get more jail time than their light-skinned counterparts. And guys, this is research that I've done, but once again, I don't have the exact sources because they are just gone. But honestly, one quick Google search, you will find it, baby, I swear. And then you have the fact that, okay, yeah, being dark-skinned and getting more opportunities may seem like a plus for dark-skinned men, but it's the fact that you're only getting it because of the perception of you, not the reality of you. You may be seen as more masculine, but what if you're not? What if you're just a soft, feminine man who wants to be softer, to be more vulnerable? Now you have to play into the perceptions of you, especially when it comes to dating, when it comes to dating white women, when it comes to dating women who only see you for what you're perceived as. It's like you have to play this role. And I've heard a few Black men's experiences when it comes to this, when they say they've dated outside of their race and had women break it off with them in seemingly happy relationships because they can't marry a Black man. And that's fetishization right there. And then you have, what was the example I was just thinking about? Jeannie fucking May. Oh my God. Jeannie May, I will never forgive her for this. Jeannie May went on the record saying that, yeah, she dabbles in the dark, but for her man, for her husband, he's gonna have to be a white man. She likes a man who looks like her. But who's she married to now? Young Jock. You, like, why? Why would you do that? Why would you allow her to redeem herself from saying something like that? Why? I have no other words, but why? It just pisses me off. I would never, ever date a man who said something like that and then allow them to grow from it. Look, I'm not that person anymore. You know what I'm saying? Like, that is just disgusting to me. Young Jock, why? Why? Oh my God, he married her. She literally said, I would never, like, I just can't see it. I just don't like black men like that. Why would you say something like that? And the fact that you said you're okay with having sex with them, you're okay with dating them for a short while, you don't think that maybe these men liked you? You don't think that's hurtful? I just can't understand why a lot of black men are okay with being fetishized like that, because it would really hurt me to the core. And what you see is a lot of them just don't care. If what I would expect is that they don't care because, you know, some people see women as just another hole, but Young Jock married this woman who said these comments about black men, and they have a black kid now. And that terrifies me. Because what other stupid shit is she saying behind doors? I don't care. I'll never forget that. In conclusion, preferences aren't as harmless as y'all like to pretend they are. What I want you to do after watching this video is think about your own preferences and think about the why behind them. When you're a part of black culture and you're saying you have a preference for light or white women, and the reason behind that is because of generalizations like black women are angry, black women are aggressive, you're saying all black women are like that? You have to think about the why behind your bias. So for me, I have a preference for black men and women, and that's because I feel like with everything going on, with all the colorism, all the racism, all of the things I've had to go through in my life, I will relate a lot more to black people and with the culture, and you know, having to explain certain things and just everything being so raw. I feel like I would be a lot more comfortable dating somebody who's had some of my shared experiences. Now that to me is way more justifiable, more of a tangible reason to not date somebody than generalizing a whole group of women as aggressive and as less intelligent, because that shit, how do y'all justify that in y'all head? I don't believe you. I don't believe that that's your preference. I believe that you're just colorist. And honestly, I've seen the way y'all look at me. Like, y'all self-proclaimed, y'all so-called preferences aren't even really your preferences. Like, you're with this white woman because you only like white women, but you want to keep looking at me. I'm not your consolation prize. I'm not the woman you get to have because you can't have the white woman you wish you had. Yeah, if you made it to the end of this video, thank you for listening to my little rant. Thank you for listening to my opinion. I hope to see you guys in the next video, and I do have a treat for anybody who made it to the end, so keep watching.